Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. WrestleMania Backlash is less than 48 hours away, so what surprises will WWE have in store as it prepares for its next premium event? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the 6th May edition of the Blue Brand, as well as all the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE Hall of Famer arrested, a young fan jumps the security barrier to meet Cody, and more. As always, Wrestlelamia won't recap the matches, but look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. The good. Shinsuke isn't finished. It was good to see that the WWE hasn't forgotten about Shinsuke Nakamura's quest for vengeance against the Bloodline. Nakamura's run-in with Roman Reigns and the Usos after WrestleMania seemed like it was being swept under the rug. Another example of the WWE's bad habit of dropping storylines without warning. Instead, Nakamura reminded fans tonight that he hasn't forgotten about the Bloodline injuring his partner Rick Boogs. Just when Nakamura gets his hands on Reigns remains to be seen, but it could be a good program as the WWE prepares Reigns for SummerSlam and Clash at the Castle. Sami Zayn sucks up to the Bloodline. And then there's Sami Zayn, the ever-opportunistic chicken shit heel who once again offered his services to the Bloodline by saying he'll take out Shinsuke Nakamura for them. This was Zayn's chance to remind everyone why he's perfect as a weaselly heel that nobody likes. Even Paul Heyman tried to get away from Zayn, as Zayn once again tried to ingratiate himself with the Bloodline by offering to take Shinsuke Nakamura out. Zayn's cowardice was on display during his match with the King of Strong Style, as he did his best to get away from Nakamura, with Pat McAfee hilariously suggesting Sami's finisher is running away. RK McBro laugh it up. Tonight's promo by RK McBro, a cringy nickname that worked largely through Riddle's comedic gifts, was a fun attack on Roman Reigns' Acknowledge Me tag. As Riddle acknowledged Randy as his best friend, Randy acknowledged the Usos have had their lips attached to Roman's ass for years now, and Drew acknowledged his plans for revenge on the Bloodline. Like most things in WWE, this one went a bit over, wearing out its welcome, but it was still a fun promo and a chance to remind fans why Drew McIntyre is still a main event player. The bad. Aaliyah squash. WrestleLamia has said that sometimes it's good to just have TV time on WWE, but in Aaliyah's case, her last 2 weeks on Smackdown have been a waste of time. Last week, she supposedly held her own against Charlotte, but lasting 90 seconds isn't exactly the stuff of an Iron Man or Iron Woman. Likewise, Flair took Aaliyah out tonight with a cheap shot in their so-called match, the match's only purpose being for Ronda Rousey to run in for the save and attack Flair. If this is a push, Aaliyah might want to hide in catering until WWE figures out a real storyline for her. Charlotte vs. Ronda, just not feeling it. The current Charlotte vs. Ronda program just isn't clicking, and WrestleLamia doesn't know how to explain it. Flair vs. Rousey is the type of match that fans know will deliver in the ring, but incredibly, the WWE hasn't been able to build up any excitement for the series. While WWE deserves credit for not putting the title on Rousey at WrestleMania 38, the rest of the build-up and execution to the WrestleMania Backlash I Quit match has been boring. It doesn't help that Rousey's promo skills are still average, and unsurprisingly, the WWE hasn't presented Rousey as a real threat to Flair, at least any more of a threat than Flair's past challengers. Although WWE needs to be careful not to book Rousey too strongly, its current portrayal of her as just another contender isn't helping this feud. If WWE wants to salvage Rousey's second run in WWE, they need to end this feud with someone robbing Rousey of her title win, leading to a new feud, or putting her over Flair in convincing fashion. Weeks of wasted time. So let's get this straight. The WWE has spent weeks building up Lacey Evans as the ultimate survivor, someone who has overcome adversity growing up and fought hard to succeed in life, and now she's a heel? As WrestleLamia noted in last week's Smackdown analysis, the WWE ran the vignettes for too long, but in hindsight, they make even less sense. In case you missed Smackdown, Evans was introduced to the fans with the preface, "Lacey Evans asks that you show her the proper respect," a sure sign that Evans is a heel. Evans has always worked well as a heel, but if this is the WWE's direction for her, why waste weeks with sob stories of a broken home? If the WWE wanted to portray Evans as someone trying to gain false sympathy, it could have been done so with 1 or 2 weeks worth of vignettes. Instead, the fans are now confused and wondering both whether Evans is a face or a heel, and also why WWE wasted their time. Shayna and Natalya spinning their wheels. The apparent feud between women's tag team champions Sasha Banks and Naomi against the Tough as Nails team of Shayna Baszler and Natalya has been getting plenty of TV time, but where's it leading to? Well, it's obvious that Natty and Shayna are targeting the tag team titles. Why hasn't WWE booked the match for Backlash? It would be one thing if Sunday's event was packed with must-see matches, but there's only one title on the line this Sunday, and a women's tag title match featuring these two teams seems like a smart way to change things up. Fans will have to wait and see if WWE adds this to the show, but if not, how many more singles matches do the fans have to watch before the titles go on the line? New Day versus Sheamus and Holland, beyond boring. Wrestling fans know that sometimes top stars have to take a break from the spotlight in order for other stars to have their moments in the main event or even the upper card. Such might be the case with the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland program, but this series has gone beyond being a stopgap program for both teams, degenerating into dullness with no end in sight. Even worse, WWE doesn't seem to be utilizing any other tag teams in any notable programs, so why waste the New Day's time with a feud that should have ended at WrestleMania? On a side note, what's up with Butch? Is he the new Hornswoggle? Having the former Pete Dunne dash out from under the ring to interfere in tonight's match has Wrestlelamia wondering if Vince is just booking him to amuse himself or if there's any intent of pushing Butch. The Downright Ugly. Nothing ugly about tonight's show, but nothing all that special either. Smackdown wasn't much of a go-home show, but then again, WrestleMania Backlash isn't much of a show for anyone to be interested in. Backlash is clearly an afterthought to the WWE and anything but a premium event. News: Sunny arrested for manslaughter. Tamara Sitch, aka WWE Hall of Famer Sunny, has been arrested for manslaughter and several other charges related to the death of 75-year-old motorist Julian L. Lassiter. PW Insider's Mike Johnson reports, she's currently being charged with 9 charges, including DUI causing the death of a person, aka DUI manslaughter, driving with a suspended or revoked license causing death or serious injury, and 7 counts of DUI causing damage to a person or property. You may recall that there were questions as to why Sitch was not arrested immediately after the accident. Reports indicated that law enforcement officials were waiting for toxicology reports before deciding whether to file charges. There were also questions about whether improper speed played a role in the traffic death. Now, Sitch faces a number of charges. Sitch could face up to 30 years in prison if convicted. Her bond is currently $200,000 for the DUI manslaughter charge and $27,500 for the remaining charges. While the case has a long way to go, Sunny's arrest for manslaughter could lead to a long incarceration. Sitch's well-documented history of arrests for DUI and subsequent incarcerations could lead to prosecutors looking to keep her off the streets, especially if she's behind a wheel. While Sitch has demonstrated Houdini-like qualities at eluding lengthy incarceration, she's never faced anything this severe. Several sites have posted Sitch's mugshot, including Wrestling News. One of the many questions in this case is whose car Sitch was driving during the accident, because there is a civil lawsuit that has also been filed. The civil suit is seeking restitution from Sitch as well as the individual who is believed to own the car. Law enforcement claims Sitch's car belonged to her boyfriend, something she has denied, as seen here by recent comments on Twitter after fans questioned her about the accident. His life ended for what reason? Were you on your way to a fire, or drunk, or high? Sitch responded, about 10 since I was slowing down to light, but he had a heart attack. Nothing to do with my seizure. Sitch also stated that she owned the car she was driving. Okay, enough, stop this shit now. This man is the most caring man I've ever known. He puts me first before him. It was my car in the accident, not his, so cut the crap, enough already. Nothing you say is gonna break us up, so just give it a rest, bye-bye. What do you think now that Sunny has been arrested for manslaughter? Let us know in the comments below. WWE told to keep rosters separate. It looks like the brand split isn't ending soon, especially if WWE's network partners at USA and Fox get their way. Dave Meltzer discussed the recent crossovers between stars of the red and blue brands on each other's shows and how that could be ending after Backlash. Both networks kind of want unique rosters. You can do some of that back and forth, but Fox in particular really wants kind of exclusivity on their guys. Meltzer didn't say how each network felt about Roman Reigns being undisputed champion and appearing on one or both shows every week. Young fan jumps security barrier to meet Cody Rhodes. What happens when a young fan jumps a barricade for Cody? Normally, this would lead to a swarm of security taking the person away, but in this case, the circumstances were much different. Cody Rhodes was in for a surprise after a young fan jumped a security barricade in order to get a picture with him. Rhodes had just worked a post-Smackdown dark match against Seth Rollins when he was posing with fans at ringside. Not surprisingly, Cody was initially taken aback as he seemed to be focused on taking a selfie with the fans near him and had no idea of who had approached him. Given past attacks on wrestlers, one could argue that security should have done a better job. It has to be particularly difficult for wrestlers to interact with fans without worrying about whether someone will try and attack them. Regardless, Cody didn't let things bother him, and he later tweeted, "This popped me. He ended up getting the pick. Good kiddo." The American Nightmare seems to be having the time of his life following his WWE return. What are your thoughts on a fan jumping the barricade, and what do you think of Cody's reaction? Let us know in the comments below. Stu Grayson reacts to AEW exit. Last but not least, the Dark Order's Stu Grayson is talking about his recent departure from AEW, a move that surprised some as he'd been with the company so long. Stu tweeted his goodbyes recently. Update: on April 30th, my contract with AEW expired. Best of luck to everyone working for AEW, our great production and medical team, and of course, every man and woman who steps into the ring. And to my Dark Order family, I hope the world will soon see what you are truly capable of. According to Dave Meltzer, regarding Stu Grayson and AEW, his contract has expired and both sides could not agree to a money figure on a new deal. Grayson left AEW on good terms, so a return can't be ruled out. Well guys, there you have it, Wrestlemania's look at the 6th May edition of Smackdown, including the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, as well as the wildest wrestling news, stories, and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.